Hello, welcome to the HMO Success Podcast. Today, my guest is definitely of the entrepreneurial spirit. He is a guy who really took on a magazine and has grown it to really immense proportions. I'm sure you will have heard of this publication. It's Blue Bricks Magazine. And my guest today is Sam Cooke. Hello, Sam. Great to have you on board.
Wendy, it's great to be here. Thank you very much for having me. I feel honoured to be interviewed by the person that changed the law.
Well, yes, thank you very much indeed for that. Yes, it wasn't just me, of course. It was everybody involved in the campaign. So, and of course, you very much were part of that. You promoted what we were doing. You publicized what the campaign was about. You let people know. So we're very grateful to you as well, Sam, in doing what you do. I'd like to understand a bit about how did Blue Bricks come about? How did you get involved in running a publication like this?
Yeah, it was really strange one, really. So I started out in property as an estate agent before anything else. And that was kind of my venture into property. And lost my job during COVID. And during COVID, it was that standard kind of 3 week to flatten the curve, as we all know. It was going to be over quite quick. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I thought in the first lockdown that was meant to be the only lockdown, I'll set up a sourcing business because I know the area now. I've been an estate agent. I've got unlimited time, so I can't use that as an excuse. I hate wasting time, so I didn't want to just complete Netflix. And it seemed like a good idea. So I was sourcing throughout COVID, which obviously went on a lot longer than anticipated, as we all know. And it was really, really challenging trying to do that, especially since it was my first business. So learning about business, learning about, the intricacies of sourcing and dealing with all the uncertainty of how the market's going to perform, it actually ended up going up. Um, so while that was happening, Blue Bricks Magazine, I was connected with one of the owners of Blue Bricks Magazine who said, look, we see that you're sourcing, we love what you're putting out online, you seem really driven. We're looking for a marketing manager for Blue Bricks. Would you like to come on, work 25 hours a week for Blue Bricks Magazine? You can still source, you can still do your thing, no problem, but we can connect you with investors and, it'll give you a bit of credibility working with us. So it seemed like a great deal, and it was. But after working for Blue Bricks as their marketing manager, Blue Bricks was also owned by a private equity firm that bought and sold businesses. And Nathan, who owns that, kind of became a mentor and a guide to me. And I just fell in love with that world, really, and fell in love with Blue Bricks and private equity. And I ended up stopping sourcing to kind of learn more from Nathan. And I went full time then. So I was part working for Nathan as an investment analyst. So I would find businesses that were suitable for acquisition and look at ways that we could creatively buy them. And then I was also still working on Blue Bricks. Kind of fast forward to 2022, I always get my year wrong. 2022 it was. They turned around and said, "Look, we're looking to sell Blue Bricks magazine." And Nathan said, "I've taught you how to buy businesses. Why don't you buy Blue Bricks magazine off me and go from the market manager to the owner?" And that's how it came about, really. And that's how I sort of ended up going to be the owner and the editor of Blue Bricks and kind of been known what I'm known for today.
That's absolutely amazing. What a great, great story. So you kind of were working, you were the worker, and then you became the boss.
Yeah, basically that's how it kind of went around. I suppose the entrepreneurial spirit's always been there. I always knew I wanted to go out and do my own thing. I had no idea when I started working for Blue Bricks that that would ever be on the cards.
And can you just tell us some statistics about the magazine? How many readers do you have? How many subscribers? What's the size of it? And what are the trends in terms of growth?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a massive growth journey since buying it. When I bought Blue Bricks, it was relatively unprofitable business. It was still very much a startup, and it needed a lot of work to go into that to kind of bring it to where it is. The brand was sort of more well known in the northeast than the north, where one of the owners was Caroline. That's where she lived and did a lot of networking. But down south, London, Cornwall, kind of Manchester, the Midlands, it wasn't really as kind of well known. The sweet thing was it had quite a nice cult following. So the people that were readers of Blue Bricks and part of the community really, really loved it and raved about it. And it was just taking that national and making that well known. In terms of the readership, when I started out, it was a little bit lower. So we're around, I'd say, to about the kind of in terms of readers, about 500 mark, I'd say 600. We're now in excess of 10,000. That's because we sponsor all the major networking events in the UK. So sponsor a lot of the independents, sponsor all the property deal networks, sponsor Savoy's clubs when they have their events, sponsor the HMO awards, have my own awards that I've run. And then in terms of other areas of growth, it's obviously now a profitable business. It's hiring staff, looking to hire an editor to actually take over my role in the new year potentially. Um, Also had the Blue Bricks Award, which was a huge award ceremony. Launched events across the UK now. It never had events other than online when I started it. So there's been all kinds of new things that have been implemented really over the past, let me do my maths now, what will it be, 3 years coming up?
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I have to say, I've obviously seen the growth. You and I met first at Leeds, at the Leeds Property
Yeah.
Breakfast, didn't we? And that would have been, oh, I don't know, a year ago, maybe coming up for a year. I think was it January of 2024 when we first met? Something like that, wasn't it? Or was it?
Yes.
Can't
Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
remember. Or maybe December. So it was just after the law had changed with regard to HMOs and council tax, and the host Paul invited me up, and you were sitting on. I think we were on the same table, in fact, weren't we, Sam? So that was
Yeah.
really
Go
good.
on.
And I hadn't at that stage heard of Blue Bricks, but now Blue Bricks is everywhere. It's just kind of gone like this. Yeah, everywhere I turn, there's Blue Bricks magazine. There's an article about somebody in Blue Bricks magazine. It's really the kind of go-to. To me, it feels like the go-to publication for people who are on the ground actually doing stuff. Obviously, there are other publications out there, and there are. I think every property magazine has its own kind of niche angle. But for
Yeah.
me, it feels like Blue Bricks is very much about the story of the people. It's very people based. So, who are these people who do stuff in property? What's their background? What's their thing? What are they known for? What's their kind of USP? What's their brand? Who are they? And why should I care? And you kind of bring
Yeah.
out those stories of people. And I think that's a really nice element of it. It isn't just about the deals or the properties. It's more to me about the people. And I think that's where Blue Bricks has got its edge really. It's kind of niche. But you've done all these events as well, and you're getting involved in lots of different events. So how do you manage all of that, Sam? I mean, it sounds like a 24/7 kind of role.
Yeah, it is. And really the way to manage that has been to hire. So, it's not me doing all the sales emails and then doing all the social media posts and going to an event and putting the magazine together. That's freed up a substantial amount of time. And really the only thing that takes up a lot of my time at the moment is being the editor of the magazine, putting it together, putting commas in articles and interviewing people. And that's why the next logical step is looking, and we're in talks to potentially hire someone who will then be the editor of Blue Bricks, and I can still run these events and push the business forward without kind of being sat at my desk on Microsoft Word. So that's the next step, really.
Yeah, yeah, and that's quite important, I think, isn't it? Because as the boss, you've got to still retain an overview of the development of the business, as opposed to just the quality of the journalism. Which, although that's critical and that's really important that you maintain a good quality of writing and journalism, if you can outsource that or bring somebody in who can do that role, that's going to free up a significant amount of your time, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about. And spend more time, like this week, for example, I've been spending it with customers and partners, and that's been really nice because going into 2025, we've already got plans on what we're going to do together and how we're going to help each other develop both our businesses. So that's kind of what I want to do more of, really. It's that typical entrepreneurial thing of stepping out of the business, I'd say.
So tell me, what have you enjoyed most about buying this business and then running it? Which bits have been, stuff you've really enjoyed, but which bits of stuff you haven't enjoyed? Where have you struggled and where have you had challenges?
Yeah, I'd say the bit I've enjoyed the most is the people that I get to meet. The powerful thing about being the editor of a magazine, and it took me a while to get used to, is you have a free pass into most places, and into most people. Like I can get in front of the senior members of large organizations for the simple fact of I've got something to offer and nothing to sell. So, speaking to people like yourself, Wendy, I can talk to you. And what I love about my role is I can sit down with you and learn about you, and hear your story. And that to me is fantastic. And to be able to do that in a way that adds value to the person rather than messaging someone on LinkedIn and going, "Can I pick your brains?" Because if they're busy, they're just going to say no. So that's what I've enjoyed from it. In terms of the challenges, being entirely honest, Blue Bricks and all publications are difficult businesses to run for the reason being that fewer people than ever read. Um, because of the internet, YouTube, podcasts, people have got more access to information than they've ever had before. So you've got to provide information that isn't easily accessible and is extremely valuable because you can't be forgiven if you don't, because a quick Google search can provide that information. Um, Also, having a business where your overheads are quite high, print distribution, costs, Royal Mail postage have gone up 3 times this year. So our costs have gone up substantially. Um, and also, you know, having a magazine, there's only so much you can charge someone for a magazine. So even though our costs rise up, we can't start charging £60 a month for a print magazine. So that those are the difficulties from a really intricate business sense. It's not easy.
So that and that's a really honest answer. And I think anybody listening or watching this is going to say, we get where you're coming from, Sam. Anybody who's running their own business today is going to, go, yes, we're with you, Sam, because they've experienced exactly the same thing. Staff costs going up, energy costs having a knock-on effect in terms of other, inflationary pressures within the business. But yet, you're absolutely right that in terms of your product, you can't necessarily pass those costs on to the customer. Maybe in time you can, but presumably well, again, let me ask you rather than presume anything. Let me ask you, in terms of your markets for growth, how do you see those in terms of the customers, the clients, and the advertisers?
Yeah, I think the trick has been to add as much value as humanly possible so that you can justify increasing the prices. So, for example, with the advertising packs, I've added stuff to it like, doing business development on behalf of customers, for example, and that justifies the price going up. Because I've owned Blue Bricks as long as I have now, I've got a brochure with testimonials from a ton of advertisers saying how happy they are and how many results they're getting. So that's made that side easier. With the membership, we're launching a monthly webinar alongside a monthly event now that all our members can join completely free. We're going to have some amazing speakers on that one. We've got Paul Lamphere coming up in December for that, actually. So that's free for members of Blue Bricks Magazine. I've also acquired the asset from another business, which I can't give the details just yet, but that's going to launch a whole list of new products for Blue Bricks Magazine, some of which are going to be free, but that's going to add a digital arm to the business as well, that
Amazing,
just gives
amazing.
more to the membership. So that's all it is. It's giving as much value to our members as possible, and then making sure that the value for what they're paying is, 10 times, 20 times more.
And I love the way that you call the subscribers, which probably be what I would call them, but you call them members. And I think that's a really nice differential because effectively what you're saying is that these people are members of this Blue Bricks community, which is more than just somebody buying a magazine and having a copy sent to them every month or every 2 months. You're actually part of a wider community. And hence, this is why, of course, your events and the other things you're putting on generates that sense of community. Was that a deliberate choice?
Yeah, and so I'll be entirely honest. I never expected the community to grow into what it's become, and it really is a community atmosphere that people come to me when they see me at events. Like, I'm a member of Blue Bricks. I love the magazine. Advertisers help the readers, even just help them for free. Other readers are meeting for coffee and helping each other, and that was almost accidental. I mean, when I bought Blue Bricks, they had a monthly online webinar, and that had a really nice community feel. Like I say, a bit of a cult following, and then coming out of COVID, people were desperate for in-person networking events again. So that's why I first launched the first networking event I did was to kind of say that demand and let all these people that had met online meet in person. And then I always attract, I don't know how, I couldn't write down on paper how I do it, really good people. both in the magazine and to the events, I always just get nice, high quality, good people. And that's just grown with every event that I've done. It's like attracts like. And I think the more people see good people in a room, the more good people want to be a part of that. And it's kind of grown organically.
Yeah, which is amazing. I've always had the impression, and somebody is sort of contradicted me a few months ago about this, that the if you like the demand or the market for selling to landlords is not massive. Now, what I mean by that is that the numbers of landlords in the UK are not massive, but this particular individual said to me, no, it's about 3 million or something. We've got about 3 million landlords in the UK, so it is actually a sizable market. What stats do you have about the market out there, and how many of those people do you think want to read the magazine?
It's a really difficult one because although there's a lot of landlords in the UK, I think, and we go to these events, the HMO Awards and the NRLA events, and there's, we see lots of investors, but many landlords are off market. They're not advertising the fact that the landlords, they're probably not on social media. A few of them still have properties from 2008 onwards that are 2 or 3 units. So they're almost hidden. They don't have websites and stuff where you can go and find them. So it is a really difficult market to sell to. One of the trends that I'm seeing is that I'm almost seeing two industries side by side at the moment. Industry one is that hidden industry. It's people like you, it's people like NRLA, it's people that are cracking on and doing great stuff, and perhaps aren't as active on social media all the time, but are doing amazing things. And then you've got industry two, which is very much becoming a bit like the YouTube influencer industry where we're seeing a lot of new people coming into the industry. Some of them have unrealistic expectations of get rich quick, be a millionaire overnight. And the strange thing is they're not my target market, but if you were going to sell to, they seem to be much easier to sell to. Um
Okay, so here's a question from an oldie to a
yeah,
youngie. Do you see an age differential in those two markets?
yeah, I do. A few of the meetings I've had this week, I've had 3 meetings, and all three people have said the exact same thing that they are seeing almost a changing of the guard or a passing of the torch from an older generation that have been in here 20 years down to younger people like myself, like Scott Williams, who runs a property developer show, like Van Vogstad, who runs HMO Awards. It's definitely getting younger, I would say.
Mm. And actually, I mean, that's really important. I mean, I've been investing in property for many years, nearly 30 years. I can't quite believe it, but it's true. In about 2 years' time, it'd be 30 years since I bought my very first buy-to-let property. And so I can very much relate to landlords who've been in the market for a long time. And I can see all the changes. I can see what it used to be like 30 years ago. And of course, now I look back and think, oh, why didn't I make the most of all those opportunities? Because, the market has changed. But although the market has changed, it hasn't necessarily become much harder to invest in property. People think it's harder. And I think for older landlords who look back with kind of rose-tinted spectacles and say, oh, wasn't it amazing back then? Well, there were some parts that were amazing, but some parts that weren't so amazing, actually. We didn't have so much regulation and there weren't so many rules to comply with, which I certainly do think it makes it harder these days for people because they've got a lot to learn, especially in HMOs. But I actually think that if you can kind of get over that, there are still lots and lots of deals out there. People always want to sell their property. There's always properties out there that you can buy, and you can always add value. And I think it's about having the right mindset. Now, this is one thing you mentioned early on, Sam, in this interview. I'd like to understand, how has your mindset changed since you moved from being the employee to being the boss?
Yeah, really good question. I think number one of the things I've had to learn is decision making has become quicker. You have to make decisions fast and then action those decisions. I'd say that the biggest thing that's changed has been action. Like it's easy to sit down in a meeting and go, "Oh, I've got all these 100 great ideas that we're going to do and it's going to be amazing," and then not do anything. My biggest mindset has been going, right, we've got this idea, let's action it. And one of the other biggest mindset changes has been doing less things, but doing them really well. So it's so easy to go out there and go, we're going to do a YouTube, we're going to do a podcast, then we're going to do events, then we're going to have an awards, and we're going to do a Bluebricks conference, and it's going to be amazing. And then you can end up doing 100 things and then doing them all quite poorly. I think what's worked well for me has been doing one thing like the Bluebricks was, putting all the energy into that and then executing that as well as possibly can. And I think that's really difficult as entrepreneurs because we have a million great ideas, a million business ideas, 1,000 startup businesses that we want to launch and do, and 10 other things that we want to invest in. And I think it is hard to sit yourself down and go, no, this is what I'm looking at. And I've actively turned down opportunities, such as actually investing in properties, because I've said, no, my focus right now is Blueberries Magazine and the growth of that. And that's probably been the biggest lesson that I've learned.
I think that's incredibly valuable. I have to say, you are a wise head on young shoulders because I think so many people, you're absolutely right, fall into the trap of saying yes, 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 yes all the time. And I find it incredibly difficult to say no. I really do because I see all the opportunities and I probably am, I do fall into that trap of going, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do this. And then I'm exhausted at the end of the week because I haven't got any time for anything else. Or other things start to, not work very well, or, my fitness or my health deteriorates, or I don't spend enough time with my family, or those kind of things can happen. And those are important parts of my life and probably yours as well. So I think that ability to say no, it's very hard though, isn't it? Don't you find that hard sometimes? Like you say, it goes back to decision making. How do you weigh up what to say no to?
I think yeah, you are right. It's hard because there's so many opportunities out there that seem like the next best thing, and so many business ventures that seem like, the next best thing. And I think for me, it's just been evaluating my goals, what I want to achieve, and making sure that the opportunity that comes up aligns to that. So, for example, if I was to invest in a buy to let rather than Blueberries Magazine, that's great, invest the money, but does that actually align with the long-term goals of what I want to achieve over the next 3 to 5 years? Um, so that I think that's been it, knowing what you want, knowing what you're going towards, and then seeing if the opportunity helps you get there quicker.
So, very much being focused on your goals, having a plan to get there, and
Yeah,
if the opportunity does not align with those goals, saying no.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And it is difficult and it is tricky. But I think it's the only way you can actually grow something, especially in the early days. Don't get me wrong, when you've got, and even I'm not at this stage yet, but if you have 10 team members and staff and structure and systems, and you very much stepped out the business, I think then, yeah, you can say yes to that next business opportunity because you've got time. But if you're still working, 15-hour days in your business, 12-hour days in your business, saying yes to another one or another opportunity, you not only will you have no time for the new business, you've actually got to cut in half the hours that you've got in your existing one.
Yeah.
So you just end up damaging what you're already building more than anything.
Yeah. I'm reading a really good book at the moment, actually, called something like Get Your Time Back, or I can't quite remember the title of it actually. I'll try and see if I can remember it and insert it into the show notes. And it's all about that whole process of buying your time back and recognizing that, as an entrepreneur, it's very easy to get into that trap of getting stuff done. He actually uses a different word for the S word, but anyway,
Yeah,
getting done. And that we can spend so much time working in the business that you're not only not working on the business, but you're also burning yourself out, and
yeah,
learning how to step away and prioritize your own time in terms of your income, so that you're paying people to do jobs that are, let's say, £10 jobs. You might be in a stage where you're doing the £100 jobs, and so you can delegate the £10 jobs. But then you get to a stage where you can delegate the £100 jobs because you're doing the £1,000 jobs. And the bigger your business grows, the more important it is to have that approach where you're delegating jobs that are worth less than what you would bring into the business. And that is a really important step. And I think we all need reminding of that as entrepreneurs, because it's very, very, very easy to start off with something and think, I'll do that. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. And then all you do is become a busy fool.
Yeah,
And
100%.
you've thought that through in your own business, Sam, haven't you?
I think so, yeah. I've seen that, and it's been advice that's been echoed by, a lot of the people that have been in Blue Bricks magazine and all the business conferences I've gone to as well. So if everyone's saying it, there must be some truth to it. And I think the other one, Wendy, is death by meeting. Like for me now, if I've got a meeting with someone, I have a clear agenda of what I want to achieve in that and what outcome I want. It's so easy to be busy having 10 meetings a day, and then it's all just waffle and chit chat. Getting to know 10 different people who you're never going to do business with or probably speak to again either. So I think that's a really useful way of people freeing up time is, can you just cut down on the Zoom meetings? Is every single meeting adding value to you or the other person? Or is it just, hi, I know you from LinkedIn, let's talk for 30 minutes?
Yes, I totally agree. Having a purpose for each interaction is absolutely critical in order for you to actually weigh up whether you want to move forward with that opportunity or person or you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really hard for me to learn because I'm a people person. I love talking to people. So it was very easy for me to fall into the trap of, let's speak to lots of people. I had to really shift my mindset to go, no, you've got to be a bit more militant with your time and have purpose to everything that you do.
Well, with that in mind, I'm not going to hold you up any further, but I'd like to ask one final question, Sam.
Go on, yeah.
2025 is around the corner. What's going to happen to Blue Bricks magazine?
That's a really, really, really good question, and it's one I've been asking myself because there's a few things on the cards, and I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to be moving ahead with first. So, hypothetically, you might see another editor of Blue Bricks magazine coming in. I'll still be Blue Bricks, you'll still see me everywhere, but someone else in the team that's going to be interviewing people, putting the articles together, which will be really exciting. And you will see new product launches under Blue Bricks magazine as well. We're also going to be launching national events more frequently. So we did clay pigeon shooting recently. We're going to have a lot more fun events like that going forward that people can be a part of. We might do another either awards ceremony or larger event of that caliber. That will depend very much on how fast it is to get someone to take over the editorial duty. Because if I can free up more time in the business, then I can do another big event. Because for me, if I'm going to do another something on the sides of the awards again, it has to be even better than what I did before, or else to me, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Well, it sounds like you've got some big goals, big ambitions. It's going to be a case of writing them down, setting your targets, setting your goals, and planning. And knowing you, you will execute them very well, Sam. I can say that with full volition. I've seen what you've achieved, and it's absolutely tremendous. Adding value to your business and adding value to the community in terms of the content that you're offering. So fantastic. Well, listen, I wish you all the very, very best for 2025. Of course, I'm no doubt I will we'll have further conversations, behind the scenes about various different articles and things. And I'm looking forward also to contributing to the magazine, to the publication. And thank you very much for everything you do for the community as well, because I think it is very, very powerful and very valuable. And it's a tremendous thing that you've done. And thank you for today's interview. It's been very insightful, very revealing and honest. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with your community as well as my own.
No, thank you so much for that, Wendy. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed it, and it's always a pleasure to see yourself as well.
Great, lovely. Well, have a great day, Sam. Thank you.